Hi, Advanced Graphic Design. I'm going to show you how to work with your resume in InDesign. So the very first thing that you need to do is go to your shared drive. So that's on the left-hand side of your My Drive. And it should be the second one down. I have a folder here that says Advanced Graphic Design 2021. Inside of that is your resume template. You have two things here. The first of which is just a guide. So if you look at it, you can just see someone else's example. This is just a generic example. A couple things to highlight here. Notice there's a color pattern. So they have a light blue and a dark blue, as well as a black and white. The text shows up with a blue. Notice that this font is different than this font. They're using a bold, they're using italics, they're using smaller font, and just a regular font. So you can see a couple things happening here that really make it look professional and stand out. So that's just an example. This one here is the actual resume template that I've made for you, and all you have to do is download it. Once it is downloaded, you will open up InDesign, and this is actually my example, but I'm going to show you how to open up yours from your downloads. So I'm going to go to Open, and then into my downloads, and I'm going to open this one up, and this should bring up the kind of regular one that I have made for you, and you're not going to replace fonts or anything. At this point, you can just skip that. Now you have directions on the left-hand side, which I'm going to zoom in, and you can take a peek at here. These are the directions on step-by-step what you need to change and what you need to do on this resume. So this is basically a template that you can fill in and change and adjust to your liking. So it says at the top, change your fonts, choose one to be your header font and one to be your information font. Just a reminder about using dafont.com. I just want to show you that real quickly. This is a great website that gives you free items. So if I wanted, for example, kind of a classy font, I could type that in and then look through these fonts to see something I like. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's look at this one, and then you can keep going. You can also type your name in here to see what it will look like. Oh, my fault, wrong search spot. It's up here. Sorry about that. Right here is the little preview. Here we go. And then it'll actually show you the fonts with your name. So that's kind of cool. So take a peek at those. I'm going to take this one just because it's kind of funky. So I'm going to hit the word download here. And once it downloads, you go to your downloads menu once again. And your downloads menu will have a zip file here. You double click on that. It's going to open up a folder. Inside of that folder, you'll have a TTF file. That's the one that you want. So click on the TTF, and then install font is what will happen, and it will install it. So there's the classy, beautiful, regular that I have right there. So just remember that name. This was another font that I had downloaded, Traveling Typewriter, but either one, you'll have them there. So classy, beautiful is what it's called. So if anywhere on my resume I want to use classy, beautiful, I'm ready to do so. So over here is my properties menu. Yours might be at the top. It's just because I have such a wide screen that I actually ended up moving it over to the side. Here are lots and lots of options. Now that one was called classy, beautiful. So there's your character menu. And so you can type it in. There it is, classy, beautiful 2. And it will change that font to classy, beautiful. Now you can't see it real well, so I'm going to zoom in. I'm also going to make it much bigger. So that font, I'm going to change the size so I can adjust it as needed. And I'm increasing my text size right there. If all of a sudden it gets too big and you lose it, just click and make the text box actually bigger. The physical box just was limiting. And then you can adjust as needed based on the text box being larger. So wherever you're at and whatever size you want, you can adjust as you'd like. You can also change the color of anything in your document. All right, so it says change all your information to be your information. So then you would change your information. And then I want to change the font. The reason it's highlighted in pink is because it does not know what you want the font to be. So I'm going to find another font that is kind of my other font. This one here is nice. And then you'll change all of this information here. So this has to be your personal information. And then we'll worry about changing actual colors. All right, and then your website address, now that you have a website address. Okay, and then you can put your address. Now you can pick and choose if you want all of this on your resume. Some people do not want it all on their resume, just depending on what they're presenting it for. So you want to keep that in mind. So here we go. Now I'm ready to start changing the color. So that's the third bullet. Change the color of the boxes, circles on the left side to correlate with your color scheme. So when I click on this, it's going to give me a gray box. That's my fill color. I can find my fill color here or here. I'm going to double click. And at this point, I have these kind of generic colors that I can come up with. So I'm just going to go with something crazy pink. Now, if I'm not happy with that color and I want to adjust it, I can double click on this little this little pattern here. It looks like a halftone pattern. And maybe I actually want it to be a little bit lighter. I can preview it there and I can adjust that. Maybe I want it to be a little purpler, a little pinker. So I can adjust the CMYK of it. If your color mode is RGB, you can always change it to CMYK, and that gives you all 4 slider bars. You just can really fine tune the color to your liking as you see fit, whatever you would like it to be, and then hit OK. And then change your other shapes here. Notice that's now outlining that shape. It's still a gray color. I'm going to pick, see that pink color it went in there? I can also add a color to my swatches. I'll show you that in just a minute. I'm going to pick this pink, which is the same as that one, and now I'm going to adjust it from there so I know it's the same hue, but I'm now playing with it. Oops, it accidentally grabbed my other box. That's my fault. Let me just grab just this box here. All right. So this one here, let me show you how to make a swatch first, because I did mention I was going to say that. So right down here at the bottom is where you can click on New Swatch. And what it'll do is it'll place it right there. It tells you exactly where and what colors it is. That's your cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. It tells you exactly what it is. If you want to adjust it, as I mentioned, you can slide those bars there. Now let me play with this one. And I'm going to start with the fill color. And then I'm going to play with the color. And then this one, I'm going to go back because it picked up from that other color. And I'm going to go back and grab that pink. So now I have both of my colors there as needed. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing all my shapes because I've got all of these lines that InDesign creates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my View menu and down to Screen Mode, and I'm going to go into the Preview mode. Now I can see everything similar to the way Illustrator lets you see it, and I no longer have all this stuff over here showing up and so forth. But in order to see the directions, you need to go back into View, Screen Mode, Normal, and it'll put this on. If you just want a really, really quick view, like a preview real quickly, you can use Shift W, and it actually puts it into this kind of mode, which is pretty awesome because you can see it in a preview mode. This is what it would look like if it printed and or it's on your website. So you can play with that and start to adjust. The next step, and I'm actually going to jump over to my other resume, which I've already done a lot of work on, and I'm going to show you in this viewpoint here. Sorry, here we go. All right, Shift W. There we go. So see that? You can see all my colors match. I've worked on my logo. I have a font that's my header font, which shows up here as my name in my logo and on my headers. And now I've started to identify and put in things that need to stand out. So my school, for example, Oak Park and River Forest High School, Oak Park, Illinois, what years I go to high school. Any honors that I want to put in there, things you've won, art shows you've had art in, anything that would represent you and is kind of a special honor, maybe something with your athletics or sports, any related experiences, if you've volunteered somewhere, if you've helped at the food pantry, if you've helped carry someone's garbage outside on a regular basis, like a neighbor or a friend or a family member, anything like that, babysitting, those types of things would be great for related experience. Extracurricular, you can put in any sports, clubs, activities in and outside of school. Those are extracurricular. So anything you might be involved in, you want to put there. You always want to put the name of the club or the organization, where it's located, and the years that you were involved in it. Your coursework would include your actual course, Graphic Design 1, 2, and Advanced, and then any other courses that you feel would really stand out and make you look unique and special. Maybe you've taken woodworking and you want to show that. Any kind of hobbies that maybe make you stand out as well, that's what you'll put under hobbies. And then your technical skills. This is where you'll adjust each of these little dots. You can adjust to your color and to the level in which you feel like you show that you have talent in that area. So Adobe Illustrator or InDesign, Photoshop, Word, Excel, whatever you want to put here, you'll want to include the Creative Suite Adobe products, but any of the Microsoft as well, or you could just put Google, whatever you'd like to put in there to make it look like you have a lot of skill in the area of computers. So I'm going to go back here. So right now we've recolorized those, all of this. You have your icons next to it. You filled in your education section. So now we're on this one here. You'll make a text box underneath here, and that's when you'll start typing. If you find that you're having trouble seeing your text, probably the issue is that the text boxes are overlapping one another. So you can see right here, this text box is overlapping this one. If you have to, you can just adjust your text box so each of them sits kind of like stacked bricks. You have a text box, text, text, text box, and so forth. That way they're not overlapping one another, but sometimes you need them to overlap so that you get rid of some of the negative space, and that's up to you. You can adjust and move these wherever you'd like them to go. That's your choice in terms of your spacing. Just try to keep your spacing as consistent as possible throughout. If you have any questions, let me know. Anything is available via your bar over here, which you'll need your arrow menu, your text menu, and then your fill color menu. Those are the ones you want the most. And then over here, this menu changes according to whatever it is that you're on this left side. So if you're on the text menu, it's going to change and show you your character menu here, paragraph, and so forth. Good luck, and then you'll be working on your resume to put it on your website. So next thing, after you have finished your resume, you are going to do File and then save it as an InDesign file. Then it's ready to work on again. Then you're going to go File, Export, and at this point you need to export it two different ways. You need to export it as a PDF, which is usually the default right here, Adobe PDF. Export it as that. Then you also need, once you hit save, and then high quality print, everything here, just hit export. And then don't worry if there's any little errors there. That just means that some of my text may have gone over something that they don't like. And then you're going to do File, Export again. And that export will be as a JPEG or a PNG. I prefer a PNG or a PNG because it somehow takes a better picture of it. And then you'll save that. And once that's saved, you have both available to you. So on your website, you will put either the JPEG or the PNG. On Google Classroom, so I can see it, you're going to put the PDF. That way I can actually see all your fonts. It's like snapping a picture of all the fonts. All right, everyone, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.